the tail. And tomorrow is, of course, going to be the final night of this tournament. To kick things off, the player who we think might be a bit more aggressive in this series, but these games are going to tell us the answer. Representing Team LP, it's Jieshi. Pow.
All right, in the bottom left here, currently teamless, but hopefully not for long. Working hard, getting past his expectations, into the top 4 for the first time. Can he go further? This is Firefly.
14 Nexus, baby girl.
Oh, yeah.
14 Nexus. Oh,
Nexus
my
first.
God. That's insane. Oh, this is a very economic, and that's crazy. I haven't seen it on 14 before. I'm like, wait, really? Not even going to 15? But just wants to get that Nexus down as quickly as possible. So this is a super economic build. Wait, Jieshi's not scouting? Oh no, Jieshi's probe did come in. Okay, sorry. I think Jieshi just saw the Nexus. So, I mean, oh, he's gonna go gas steal? Wait, why we? But he can just take gas on his natural.
Yeah,
gas steal's really pointless against Nexus first. It makes no sense.
Isn't he just going to lose a bunch of minerals for that cancel for nothing?
Yeah, that doesn't actually help you at all. Even against the gate expand, it only delays your gas by a few seconds, maybe 15. In this case, it doesn't delay it at all. So a really odd choice. Normally, people proxy Stargate in response to this. I'll tell you, like, the reason we don't see this, because I've seen it go back and forth, Parting, Max, Pax, Zest, these guys, every time one of them tries this in the last few months, it has been reactive proxy Void Ray, couple Zealots walk across, build shield batteries outside the base. You just can't hold it most of the time with the Nexus first if they execute that just right. But so far, it doesn't look like Jieshi's gone in that direction. He's still trying to keep things, a little bit of a question mark around which way he's coming. He starts a Stalker cancel. It starts an Adept. Nexus is blocked there momentarily. This feels really good for Firefly so far, but with an Adept, he's going to go Stargate. I think he's still going to commit.
Yeah, it does certainly seem like I just want to put that shield battery pressure on there with the Voids. Probes here to drop that proxy structure. We see Cybercore has been done for a minute. I kind of felt like maybe a really YOLO Robo for a second there, but yeah, the Stargate does go down here. Shield battery number 1. Probe's gonna, just get a dodge there. One shot from that Zealot. It's Zealot on Zealot action with the Probes coming in to assist. Laser beams.
Oh, the probe gets the kill though.
God.
The probe does seal the deal. That's actually very important. At least he does get the Zealot kill. It's still not looking bad for Jieshi by any means. Shield battery is there, and it's going to have to get cancelled as at least one of them, but the Adept will be here in a moment. And as you get a few shield batteries and a Void Ray out, definitely going to be hard for Firefly. That being said, 2 more Stalkers are about to come out, already cancelling a few of these shield batteries. It's a good start so far. I think Jieshi really could have benefited from getting another Zealot out.
Yeah, he's incredibly all in here with all the resources he's put on the front door. All Firefly need do is hold on. The gas steal did complete in the main, by the way, but of course, Jieshi, Firefly is putting a lot of resources into recovery right now. He does not need gas income. He needs units and static defense.
The Adept went down for Jieshi. The Adept went down. He's lost his probes on the front. He can't build more shield batteries. He lost the Adept without killing the Zealot. And he had 1 shield battery he didn't cancel. So this is why Jieshi's so broke right now, because he's lost that Adept, took extra damage, wasn't able to cancel the previous shield battery. I mean, he's got a Void Ray out, but the shield batteries aren't up front where he wants them.
Full wall off. Full wall off. The Stalkers can't pull back. But there's no shield battery really to save them anyway, so he's going to lose 2 Stalkers here. But if the Void Ray doesn't get micro, just 1 shot from death. Oh, Stalker suicides himself onto the other side of the gateway, but gets the Void Ray.
Wow, well worth it by Firefly, microing that rally point just to the outside quickly and going, okay, I'm happy to sacrifice you. Just take that damn thing down. And look at this, the Stalker comes out as well. That Stalker should get recalled for Firefly. Make sure he saves it, sending the Zealot across the map to try and survive. No recall on that. Does have a shield battery though, so it could survive for a while. You've just got to be careful because, he's going to rally more Stalkers on the outside. Oh, very ballsy by Firefly.
Shield battery is in range. Super battery coming in there to cut through the prismatic overcharge, which does go down there for the Void Ray. It's used and abused. And now this pylon here of Firefly, sort of a front battery push. He's trying to push this front battery push. It's kind of interesting. You have this relationship with the Void Ray and the Stalker coming in, with the Void Ray getting the top end of that Stalker for now. Pulling back the shield batteries. It is just shield batteries, healing, damage, output. And who's got the heals per second over the damage per second? It looks like at the moment the Void Rays are getting some serious damage done.
Wow, those Void Rays. Yeah, this is why you can't stay on the outside like this. I think Firefly's about to get overwhelmed. Lots of minerals in the bank, but that's just because it's so hard to get production up. A Void Ray does fall.
Another Void Ray going down, but yeah, he really needs to keep these Stalkers on the other side. The full wall off, probably trying to mitigate things like Adepts, shading into his main, things that he didn't have to deal with. Oh my god, that pylon's powering everything.
Yeah, that cannot go down. If that pylon falls, he's in big trouble. I mean, Firefly is still up a couple workers and on 2 bases, but no Stargate. Just building more gateways. He's going to try and defend this with pure Stalker. If you get enough Stalkers, you can volley them down, but only if you can move under the Void Rays.
Oh, bit of a lag spike. What a terrible moment. Oh, Firefly with a little bit of lag here.
Oh my god, I thought that was me, dude. I was freaking out because I'm like, oh no, not again, internet.
Well, I know it's not me because we're watching in Parsec. We're literally not in the lobby, so it's not us. Yeah. It has been on previous seasons. We'll be real with you guys. We used to jump into lobbies.
Yes, I just don't try to avoid that wherever possible these days. Jieshi is like, what the heck? What is going on? Now that, I believe, is not Firefly. That is, I believe, one of our observers. So we'll see what ends up going on.
I think it's Firefly. Yeah, it's
it is Firefly. It's the red. Oh, okay.
Oh, blackout. Rip. Oh, that ain't good.
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, we can do resume from replay. Obviously, I do think that Firefly is on the back foot here, and this might be one of those weird situations where we resume from replay, but it ends in seconds anyway. He did have a very hurt pylon powering a lot. Also, you know, I was about to bring up after you finished talking there that losing the Cybercore means no Stalkers. And he wasn't in the process of rebuilding it either. So either he already rebuilt one and I didn't pay attention to that, which is possible because I'm not the greatest caster in the world. That's Rotterdam, just by the way, in case you guys were wondering, because I know you guys like to compare and say who's the best. Rotterdam is the correct answer.
He's the alpha.
That's right. He's the leader of the pack. But the losing the Cybercore, obviously no Stalkers, that means no Void Ray defense. So I'm very worried for Firefly in a multitude of different ways.
Indeed. Yeah, that's that. If you're relying on those gateways only, and just Stalker's definitely going to be needing that. And there's no Void Rays coming out on the D. Nothing like that. It's just about raw numbers here. Those gateways are always a little bit of an issue when you do go for that full wall off. It's a little rough, isn't it? And we're going to just be going into a replay now and just kind of looking at how these things got here. You can see the double probe coming in, getting the snipe, but should have pulled the Zealot back. So if Jieshi kept that Zealot alive, that would have been good. Also, normally when you go for this push, you try to rally 2 Zealots across the map. But Jieshi spent the money on that Assimilator steal, which I do think slowed things down a little bit.
And I liked a couple of these Stalkers on the outside before Warp Gate was done because, you know, obviously we get a Void Ray that's super worth the life of a Stalker. But now we're looking at 3 Stalkers, 4 Stalkers going down, and then it's starting to not look so hot for Firefly as far as trades are concerned. I mean, he can trade a little bit worse because he's on 2 bases. He's not a 1 base all-inner like Jieshi is in this game. But the trades, if they stay bad for long enough, and if it's enough resources lost, then he will fold, even with the better economy, even with the double Nexus, double Chrono Boost, all that sort of stuff, being a plus in his column.
It's such a funny situation as well because it's like, well, Stalkers really smack Void Ray Shield Battery. If you can just move in, shoot a Void Ray, move in, shoot another Void Ray down, Shield Batteries don't matter, who cares, right? So then they need like Zealots up front or like a Force Field, and you know they need to like stop that. But in this case, your own wall off kind of stops you from doing that, which is part of why he was rallying his Stalkers on the front, because he's like, you know, if I'm behind the wall, he can just pick off my gateways, my Cybercore, I've got to defend it. And I do think he went well with it, but I think he must have just dropped an extra Chrono Boost somewhere that he shouldn't have. Because if he could have defended those first few shield batteries, recalled the Stalkers to the back, I think it would have been a much better situation, because there is a point where you've got to withdraw from in front of the gateways, and then you almost want him to kill a gateway or a Cybercore or both and clear up the entrance so that you can run out with a lot of Stalkers and start focusing them down. It's an incredibly complicated situation on both sides, though, and we're definitely seeing what we'd mentioned at the start. There's a reason why we don't see so much Nexus first, and this exact thing Jieshi's doing is the reason, but it's StarCraft. It still rests on really fine details of execution.
I really thought it would be the Robo thing, you know, getting out an Immortal and then getting out a Prism and then getting out another Immortal and just trying to bust the dude down for being a little bit greedy with that Nexus first. Now, we saw the Taiwan region last year, House kept going Nexus first over and over and over again in these PvPs. And people like Nice and, you know, Bud would always try and put a Robo out in the map somewhere to try and punish it. But Void Ray's the new hotness, man. That's what it's all about now. That's what you proxy. You get the Void Rays, you get the shield batteries.
They're so good.
The damaging laser beams and the healing laser beams. It's all about laser beams.
Yeah, their ability to just stack up on each other, use that prismatic alignment, and annihilate Stalkers is second to none. Their ability to withdraw through shield battery positions is insane. I do think the Robo is powerful, though. I mean, even some people will do it. They won't even get the Immortal. It's like, nah, just get a Prism, lift in that main, bam, bunch of Stalkers in there, you know, start just using the shuffle on the Prism. because in small to medium numbered fights, dodge a round of Stalker shots, it's huge. You dodge a second round, it's like, oh, this is massive. So you can just use that Prism Micro, shuffle, and you can make a lot of wins happen, even in situations where you're kind of looking at it and you're going, oh, surely the Nexus First has paid off by now. But there is always a chance, as But always showed us in the Taiwan region many times with his Prism Micro. Doesn't matter if he's down 15 probes. If he just uses that Prism, he'll find a way to win. And I think he always makes me appreciate how much deeper into the game, like, just a Prism and a pack of Stalkers can kill somebody.
It was actually like, I think since the so the last time we had changes to the Prism was years ago at this point, but it was around about then when when the pickup range was nerfed and that kind of thing, where I was like, oh, I think that people are going to be getting less value out of this unit, but it is basically some of the best minerals you can spend as a Protoss. Like in certain situations, especially in PvP, with things like Immortal Drop, Harassment, with in PvZ with Immortal Defenses, Archon Defenses, juggling those things up around shield batteries against Roach Ravager attacks. It's I've seen people that are really good with it, like Zest, fight back from 60-70 supply down and survive and win. And it's because of the Warp Prism. They didn't have it, and they didn't have the abilities that they had. Obviously, Joe Schmo, Sephiroth 69XX on the ladder in his Silver League Protoss games is not going to be getting 60-70 supply army deficit out of a Warp Prism like Zest will. But that just goes to show you how skillful he is and how good it can be. It's just one of those great tools. By the way, I think we have Firefly back, but we are just trying to get the replay loaded up now. It does have a bit of a load bar on the replay when you go for a replay recovery. So
yeah, it kind of needs to replay everything that happened in the game. Obviously, I fast forwarded, but it needs to get through up to the point where you're at. That is simply the way it works. But you are right about kind of how those things unravel in the different matchups and so on. So it's interesting to see kind of where we find ourselves at this point. Are you going to use the Prism to get that insane value? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's such a drastic thing. Stalker versus Stalker. It's kind of this slower attack animation and projectile, quite easy to dodge. But you can also dodge Roaches, Hydralisk attacks, right?
Yeah,
Marines, you can't dodge. There's no projectile on Marines though, right? So if there's enough Marines, Prism Micro is just not as powerful against Terran in general because of that. Like units that shoot faster, no projectile at all, nothing to be dodged. It's just Marine lifts his gun, points, unit takes damage, right? There's nowhere there to just quickly dodge. But you see like the Viking Colossus Micro. Like, dude, there are games where I'm like, well, Parting can't kill him here. Thinking of a guy who just will not let... He's got 2 Colossi in the red and a Prism in the red, and they're just juggling around and nothing's dying. And I'm like... And the last Viking goes down, and the Terran's like, oh, I can't reach those units anymore. So it's so situational, the way it works. Same thing, Immortals. You can't dodge Immortal shots with a Prism either, because they're the same instant. So sometimes Immortals just all turn and shoot an Immortal in a fight. It dies before the Prism player can even pick it up.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we talked about it in some of the PvPs earlier, where the Immortals is actually one of the best counters to like Disruptor stuff. Sometimes when you have your own Warp Prism, you can really push back and punish a guy that's trying to go Disruptors if you don't have a Stargate and you can't go for the Phoenix Lift or the interruption on the Disruption Nova. It's just because of the instant fire thing. And yeah, I think if you're as good at like Parting or like even Ranger, we saw in the Oceanic Rest of Asia bracket look really insane with these Prism Micro. Like that, those people that are that good with the Warp Prism, you gotta go for the Warp Prism. You don't go for the unit. You know what I mean? The unit that they're juggling, you got to chase the Prism, target the Prism, forget the units that it's dropping, and that's that's really your only option.
It's like with against a Terran player who's got a tank and a medevac in your base. Always focus the tank, except if it's beyond, then focus the medevac, because that thing is going to get juggled and dodge everything, man. Like always a little player specific.
They say don't cheese a cheeser. You shouldn't out macro a micro either. Like Micro Jackson should be left to his own demise. Do not try and outfoot him. But yeah, look at that Cybercore. This is what I was worried about, is he did not remake that Cybercore, and now he literally cannot warp in Stalkers, which is devastatingly bad. That Pylon, oh man, that's his linchpin to survival.
It's Zealot time. He's basically got to make some Zealots here. And I mean, they're not the worst against the Stalkers on the ground. They can do some stuff, but oh no. He just lost 1/3 of his anti-air, Maynard.
Well, there goes that Stalker, and the shield battery's getting worked on. That Pylon does power a fair bit here, and that's just going to be the tap out the GG. And I think I said this as well. So, We're going to wait for the replay to come back, but I think it's a few seconds from tap. Anyway, and there it is. Jieshi takes game 1.
An unfortunate mistake. He had the minerals to drop that cyber core and those extra gateways well ahead of time, but was trapped in an intense micro situation, and so didn't quite find the room to do it. That is the way it goes, but a good counter from Jieshi against a build which I have not seen as much recently. A year ago, 6-9 months ago, all the rage in this matchup when people were figuring things out with the balance, with the shield battery overcharge. And since then, every now and then someone tries it, and I just haven't seen it work in a while. So, of course, I'm kind of like, hey, this doesn't work anymore. But realistically, it actually could. It could work in the right situation. There's a reason Firefly did it, and I bet in his practice games, this went splendidly.
Indeed. And this was kind of looking good for Firefly at the get-go. Picking up that probe, actually forcing Jieshi to send more probes to the front line here. Having some Stalkers spawn on the front side there deliberately to pick off the Void Ray. That one right there in particular being a good call. But these extra 3, this is when I was like, Firefly, I'm not in love with this anymore. This is getting very expensive for you, sir. And you are not getting that much damage done anymore. Another Void does go down, but only after losing 4 or so Stalkers. And this was the final moment after coming back from the replay. We had the overcharged shield battery coming in, the Stalkers getting bullied back into the natural. The ability to warp in Stalkers completely taken away from him after losing the cyber core, and there is the killing blow.
So much minerals and gas in the bank and just unable to spend it on the units that he wanted. That's always a frustrating way to lose a game there as Firefly. And who knows, maybe he could have stabilized and hung on if we had a few more Stalkers warping in. 3 Stalkers there, he could have warped in 4 more before those 3 started to even die. So if he's on 7 Stalkers going up to 10 at that end point of the game, it's a very different situation. And definitely one where Jieshi, though, does get the punish in game 1. It's kind of funny how well this played into what we anticipated. I wasn't thinking Nexus first. We were thinking proxies and aggressive for Jieshi, defender for Firefly. That was a very extreme example of that to start.
Yeah, that was even more extreme than our theory crafting at the beginning of that series. But that is game 1 in the books. Now we're going to take a short break. We apologize for the downtime, guys, but we literally cannot control what happens when blackouts happen and that sort of thing. So, yeah, apologies in that regard. But we will be back and things should go swimmingly, no doubt. So after the break, we'll see you soon for game 2 between Firefly and Jieshi.
something you wanted, and there's no doubt you might be wrong. Walked away from something you left behind. Another borderline.
G'day, StarCraft fans. Welcome back. We are getting into Game 2 very shortly here between Jieshi and Firefly. A bit of a rough game there for Firefly. Felt like he played to that map's image with the fast expand, and Jieshi did hard counter it like we kind of hoped he would, with like the most extreme thing that you can do for a Nexus First, I think.
Yeah, ain't nothing more extreme than building the Stargate literally like half a screen from that natural
At the
wall
bottom
off,
of the ramp of your naturals.
Hi, this is here. You know, it's funny with that build. I always kind of wonder, I'm like, can they pull 10 probes down and just like stop the Stargate getting up? Like just depower it kind of thing? Like, is it viable to do something that wild, or does that waste too many resources? Because
I don't know, man. It's one of those things. I'm sure like the people that are professional Protosses, like if they were watching that, they could probably do the math in their brain and go, oh no, probes do certain on DPS. I need this much mining to get to the next phase of my plan, and I can throw away this many resources to make this not happen. I obviously am not a very good StarCraft player, never have been and never will be, but I do not have patience for proxies. If I see a proxy, I pull basically everything. Like I'm just gonna go away. I don't want to deal with this.
A good policy, Maynard, and a definitely something you might want to do against this guy. If anyone out there on the ladder ever faces him, because he looks vicious with his proxies. In the blue, representing team Lao Power, it's Jieshi.
That's right. Recently dispatching Cyan in this very tournament. His PvP muscles are strong. Are they strong enough to get another map against this guy and take it to 2-0 advantage? Or will Firefly cozy it up with a 1-1? This is Firefly.
Probes going across after the gate, so very standard openings so far. And not so common to fast expand on this map, as we do see the second gateway go down for Jieshi and Firefly, both of them, so no crazy deviances just yet from the plan. We see a little bit more of a defensible choke point for Firefly here, where it's on kind of the inside of his wall, whereas Jieshi's is on the outside. It's a real minor difference, but just kind of maybe speaks to the fact that Jieshi wants that smoother path between both of his bases.
Yeah, this is... So the beginning of PvP is always interesting to me, because it's one of the few matchups where, you know, the Worker Scout almost always happens, and you can't stop it. Like, it just cannot be stopped. So the probe is going to get in, because you're not going to fully wall off your main in PvP, unless you're, like, you know, one of those weirdos who does do that, but I think it's kind of bad, because then you're kind of showing your opponent that you're going to one base. And then there's that mind game of, is that person going to get that second pylon in the main? You're going to see it, or are they going to hide that pylon where your probe doesn't see it and try and make you overreact to it? Maybe force out a unit that you didn't want to make, or make you go for that stalker instead of that sentry for your expansion because you're worried about something else out on the map.
And there's so many layers to that interaction as well. Like you know, there's people listening who are like, what? That sounds crazy, but it's like. And then you speak to these big brain players and you ask them enough questions and you realize there's layer upon layer within that, and you're like, oh, okay, this is this is very, very deep. And Firefly does get his 2 stalkers shouted, but kills the probe, and that pylon does get cancelled there. So it's adepts from Jieshi, 4 adepts so far up against stalkers into Robo, just on 1 base. Firefly looking like he might want to punish here with a 3-gate Robo, and I'll tell you, against someone who makes a lot of adepts, especially if he makes adepts 5 and 6, just having early stalkers and a prism across the map can be a killing blow.
Certainly can be. There's a lot more damage than you would think, especially in those stages of the game when you don't have a ton of tools to deal with it. So 4 adepts coming on down, and there's 2 stalkers, and the stalkers do not win this fight. He's hunting down the hurt stalker, wants to burn it down. Oh, it's just going to escape, I think.
Yeah. But good bully back from the adepts. That being said, his plan has been scouted. Not that it matters, because Firefly, I think, already might have been anticipating this. He's got the forward pylon. He's already going up into that tech. I expect a Warp Prism to power up in just a moment, and it does. Firefly is going to be attacking a giant stalker prism attack. I don't even expect him to wait for the prism. He's going to just get straight in there and say, that's fine, 4 versus 4. I will fight that any day. Stalkers beat adepts in a head-to-head fight.
They certainly do. They have the benefit of the shield battery for fighting back at home, and if they actually start to hurt these stalkers a lot, they can cut off their retreat with the shades as well. I doubt the shade finished. Oh, wow, I can't believe that shade finished. You can actually get an adaptive leave here.
Yeah, it does.
Lose a stalker.
Yeah, this is a good trade for Jieshi. Good trade for Jieshi. He just doesn't want to overcommit is the problem. But you know what? He's killing a lot of these stalkers so far. I think he's doing just fine.
Yeah. Well, the Stalkers are getting burned down and right-clicked here by the Adepts. The Shade's being pulled back this time. Now, Firefly obviously has not been taking amazing trades, but now he's got a War Prism. We spent a couple minutes talking about how good this unit can be.
Yeah, especially Adept attacks are really clumsy. They're really slow, easy projectiles to dodge. Notice he's trying to focus down the Red Stalker. Firefly babysitting it, though. He keeps it alive, forces out the Overcharge and says, that's fine, I'll go into the main base, mate. I do not need to stay down there. I have more units than you. Immortal's on the way for Jieshi. It's going to be out in just a few seconds, though. He needs to buy time for that Immortal.
Yeah, he certainly does. The Immortal's going to be extremely important here. Going to have that right-click capability on the Stalkers with that instant attack. The Pro's being pulled as well. The Jieshi just have a bit more of a buffer against these Stalkers. The Micro here on the Prism, not too bad for Firefly. He is losing a few of those Stalkers, but they are very, very bruised. I think it's just about time to give this one a bit of a breather. He is still 3-gate warping in, though. No expansion, so he's kind of bought a ring for this. He's committed.
He's got to put a Nexus down, though, I think. I don't think Firefly can kill Jieshi. Look at how weak all of his Stalkers are, and there's going to be a second Immortal out. So I think at this point, you want to mix some Adepts in, try to, do a bit of harassment, and see if you can find more damage for sure, but I don't know if Firefly can break him here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that Stalkers, you have a lot of Stalkers can do a lot of things. Sometimes that's all you need. But when your opponent's got multiple Immortals, shield batteries,
Force field on the ramp could be good, but 2 batteries, 2 Immortals. Like you said, Maynard, yeah, I mean, there's not many force fields. The sentries don't help Jieshi that much, but the Adepts are now going to come in. Firefly is still looking for the break. He's floating a lot of minerals during all this. And this that's just the thing that happens with 3-gate. You can't actually spend all your money on a 3-gate, so he needs to be getting a Nexus, but it's not going down. His Adepts are going to start finding damage. I just don't think he finds a kill. And remember, Jieshi's up about 9 probes. He can take a bit of damage. The Adepts are doing well, but I don't think that's going to equalize things.
Yeah, I don't think so either, man. I just don't think it's worth. I don't think it's just. I don't think it's balancing the scales. Oh man.
Has he walled himself in at home? He must have, because otherwise he's floating 800 minerals. Surely he would have put a Nexus down. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think he told the probe to put a Nexus down. Didn't realize he's walled himself in. He's forgotten about it. So Firefly has actually done such a good Adept follow-up, but he's gonna get the force field.
He does get the force field. That cuts this Immortal off for the pack, forcing a recall the other Immortals into the main, which kind of opens up the natural a bit. If he can get another force field ramp, I think he has. Oh, he doesn't have the 1 force field just yet. This force is coming out from Jieshi, actually. Oh, he's lost the Prism.
Oh, that's a very important sniper. Now the Immortal's here. Immortal says, okay, I can ferry those Immortals to wherever they're needed. Still no expansion for Firefly. 700 minerals here. And oh my lord, he just can't spend that money. If you're going to stay this long, you've got to get a 4th gateway, or you've got to get that Nexus down. And just a good hold for Jieshi, and that should be game over and a 2-0 advantage. I hate to call it early and be the hype killer, but right now there is only one thing Firefly's wanted to do for the last 3 minutes, and that's build a Nexus while maintaining pressure, and his probe's just been stuck at his wall. So he is in a really bad position right now.
Yeah, this has been so far from Firefly, it's like he's got the right idea, but hasn't executed correctly and has made some pretty massive mistakes.
Does he get the Prism?
Okay. Well, that's definitely not a mistake. That's actually the opposite. That's really lucky.
Yeah, I think he just kind of was like, I know you're going to go out to harass here. So really good movement by Firefly. Jieshi, though, starts the 3rd base. Is up 15 workers. It's getting a Forge, building more Immortals. Has sentries there. A few Adepts for tanking. The force fields will be great. Firefly needs to do some magic. And he says, well, you know what? Purification Novas, they can be game changers. They can be magic abilities. Let's try those out. So going into Disruptors, definitely a wise choice from Firefly. He's going to try and maintain a bit of pressure while doing a drop in the back of the main.
Yeah, and he's got to do something. The pressure's on. He's been losing a bit of steam here after having his natural delayed for so long. Kind of at his own hand. He's going to get rid of that pylon. Damage is damage here. Still more supply cap for Jieshi to work with as he moves down to secure that 3rd Nexus. Don't get me wrong, I think Jieshi's got a pretty hard-to-surmount lead here. I do like that Firefly is going for the comeback units. The Disruptor, a pretty good call here along with Blink.
Extra gateways going down for Jieshi right now. Blink does start up, going to give the mobility as well. So Jieshi's probably going to hit about 50 workers and just kind of mass Blink and be in such a dominant position from there. Jieshi, of course, has been hallucination scouting and seeing so few workers from Firefly. Jieshi's playing very cautiously. It's like, whoa, what the heck? Like, you have so little economy. I just need to make sure I don't die. Add a few batteries, warp in lots of units, make some few Immortals. Everything is in the lead except for the army supply. But the army quality is so much better for Jieshi that I don't think it matters.
He does get one unit there, but yeah, I'm with you. Like, I'd much rather have the army that Jieshi has here, as much as I love disruptors, and, you know, they're really hype, and I love them a lot. Blink Disruptor is the correct way to play this matchup. I'll die on that hill. The Immortals, really, and the army that he's heading towards, and the upgrades as well. Like, Jieshi's just heading towards something that's going to be too hard for Firefly to deal with when it does clash eventually, you know. He's just trying to avoid a fight, because if he does get a fight, he's gonna lose it. Pretty convincingly.
Indeed. Firefly going to come around, pick off some more pylons. Still being very mobile and annoying. The double disruptor. Ooh, the Immortals lose track of it for a moment. They've got to be careful. They've got to stay on top of that.
Does get 7 probes. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good damage. You're never going to be complaining about 7 probes for a Disruptor Nova, especially when you keep the Disruptor and the Prism alive.
It does trade a Disruptor for it, but yeah, getting the Immortals weak as well. So that could come into play later on in this game. DT Shrine as well. All the comeback tech for Firefly. What a big potential playmakers, Disruptors, and Dark Templar. Firefly's only down 10 probes now. He's getting his own third up. Yes, he's way behind on the upgrades, and I think he should keep it that way. If I was Firefly, I'd say, yeah, don't make upgrades at all for like another few minutes. Just, you know, build up your numbers, try to get more Disruptors out. And look at this, wow. A cute blink maneuver. Wow.
Yeah, I guess the Immortal, I mean, that's one less problem. Less Immortals, less problems here for Firefly as far as he's concerned. And it actually manages to save a lot of the Stalkers there. I thought that other one was stuck. Oh, he's going for all the comeback units here. The Dark Shrine coming down as well as Disruptor is looking to take a little bit of damage here from that Adept, but she's going to go down. She's not being microed here. Prism kind of exposed, but all right, sieged up just out of range of these Stalkers.
Yeah, that was a real taunting siege up location there. It's like, I can't warp in here, but I just want you to know I'm just out of range, Stalkers, and they aren't able to snipe it down, but Firefly's defending okay. Doesn't take crazy damage. Warp Prism is, of course, going to continue to threaten.
I really like where he's gotten the Dark Shrine as well as a small touch, because as it's morphing in, it kind of looks like a shield battery. And if you're not paying super close attention to how long that's taking to warp in, you'd be like, that's probably a shield battery, right? Nothing to worry about here. But he is getting cannon, so Jieshi, he's dotting his I's and crossing his T's.
Yeah, +2's almost finished. Adding a few probes as well is Jieshi. I do think Jieshi should go kill his opponent, because he knows he's ahead. Because if he's not going to go kill him, he should be probing a lot harder, right? Look at how much that economic advantage has disappeared. The Disruptor harass, the Blink harass, the Adepts going in. I mean, the supply doesn't look so scary. The thing you've got to remember is that +1's nowhere near finished. +2's almost done for Jieshi. So it's going to be a +2 double upgrade advantage for a little while. Another Disruptor shot, though, in the mineral line.
Ooh, stacked up probes as well. 6 more going down, and again, the Disruptor gets away with murder. Multiple time murder. It's actually getting serial at this point.
Dude, Firefly is playing really well. Firefly is showing his class as a player. Really, you are not meant to be in this game. He was so dead after that mess up with the expand. But the fact that he's just kind of saying, look, I know I've got to take risks. I'm going to go Disruptor drops coming in from this angle. Blink Stalkers keeps rotating to new surprising angles, picking off units, pulling back, picking off, pulling back.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, though, ouch.
Yeah, this is very rough. Left without much defense in the main. Even if you had a shield battery, the Adepts are high enough in count to be able to defend. Unfortunately, Firefly is killing Adepts, but also killing about as many probes as Adepts would have killed. So it's a glass half empty kind of situation there for Firefly, as I'm sure he'd agree. And things are starting to... Sorry?
Did he lose every Stalker to a Disruptor on the other side of the map?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. He lost...
Oh man.
Yes. Oh, because Insano came over there and there was just like a bunch of pieces of metal on the ground. And Insano was like, what? We were all like, what just happened? While he was defending with those Disruptor micro shots, Jieshi stuck up on him and just blasted one, I believe. Or somehow he just got blinked on, maybe? He must have just got blinked on.
Yeah, must have got blunk on, because I don't think there's been a Robo Bay here for Jieshi at all, so he doesn't have Disruptors. Yeah. So maybe he pounced on the army. I mean, that's how things can quickly happen in PvP, is whether it's a Disruptor shot or a big blink attack. Charge about to finish here with these... this is game ending. The Zealots in the main, along with the attack at the third.
Giant army rotation on the top side at the same time, and that's going to be a bit of a bummer there. Oh, that's going to be very hard to deal with.
Yeah, almost the entire army of Firefly up here in the main base. He does have the Disruptors down at the thirds. The ability to hold is here. He has a couple more Disruption Novas.
Too many. He's got to space those Disruptor shots out. He spent so many units in the main to deal with it. Has to pull the probes off the third. He can't afford to lose that base, though. Already far behind is Firefly. He's down in upgrades. Those Disruptors are everything. Oh, he accidentally throws one from way too far back on his control group, and he loses the Nexus. That is a great snipe for Jieshi.
Yeah, and losing the Nexus is GG, and Jieshi, I think, knows it as he comes forward to just finish him off by getting rid of the Disruptors. Eats a Disruption Nova, but I think he just knows that he's got it anyway.
Oh man, they look like spiders when they fly like that, don't they?
Yeah.
It's just their legs wrap up, tangle, and go flying off. A tactical recall there for Jieshi, a good idea. He's already done so much damage, and he's building Phoenix to counter the Disruptors. He's going up into that next step. I'd love to see Jieshi take a 4th base here and just kind of secure the win, as he already has a huge economic advantage. He's just going to get up the right unit composition and take it to the next step.
Yeah, certainly seems like it. Now, Firefly really doesn't seem like he's got a whole lot of gas left in this tank peg. He's really taken the 3rd, and obviously still got Disruptor Tech and DTs, and he's going to try and make magic happen again with this Prism with 2 Disruptors now.
But Phoenix are out, so he's got to make sure he gets this out. There's just not that many probes to snipe. Recall, 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 recall. Oh, no, don't pick up into the Prism. Uh-oh.
Oh, man. With the Phoenix coming out, I mean, the Phoenixes are great for shutting down Disruptors, and they're also great for shutting down the Prism that Disruptors travel around in. I don't think Firefly's got any cards he can play anymore, man. Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. Firefly worked hard to try and get back in this game, but it looks like he is going to be looking down at 0-2, having to win 3 maps in a row to stay alive in this tournament to get that top 3. Of course, these guys are, you know, both guaranteed top 4. They're fighting for top 3 right now.
Yep.
And Firefly, what a rough start to this series so far.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they're guaranteed, either player guaranteed $1,400, which is obviously fantastic as being top 4. But yeah, this isn't going to be good enough for either of them. They're both trying to go as far as they can. They want to be the representation for China. It's not just the money, it's the glory. It's looking at the EPT circuit as a whole. The ESL Pro Tour is not just about the money, it's about the points. It's about representing your region. It's about showing that your country has the ability to, you know, show great StarCraft and has a strong selection of players, etc. So there's a lot on the line. And unfortunately, you know, does mean that you're going to see some games where the players, when they're really, really far behind and for all intents and purposes very, very dead, they are going to stick around and try and make something happen, just hoping that their opponent makes a horrible mistake.
Jieshi playing this super duper patiently is just like, all right, adding plasma shields up to my +3, working these advantages little by little, only slowly moving out to take a 4th base. Nice snipes by Firefly. He's going to get one of those Phoenix and looking for a few more right now.
Archons, hello. And a couple of Phoenixes go down. Stalkers in the main as well. So the Phoenix is a little cavalier from Jieshi. I mean, I think he can afford to do things like this, obviously, because of how astronomical his lead is. But, you know, that definitely wasn't good for Jieshi, what just happened there.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a World War I cavalry charge, you know. It was like, hey, huzzah! You know, it's like, no, this is not the time. And every time it got shut down, he kept going for more there. Those 7 probes were not worth losing that many Phoenix. That being said, you could argue it is, just because of the position he's been in. You know, it's like, oh, a bad trade. The definition of what is a good and bad trade changes in this scenario. DT's coming in and being as annoying as possible. The Archons try to body block and defend those probes.
Do pretty well, actually. Oh,
yeah.
Missmarker. The Prism's actually sieged up, so he had no way to zap that DT back in as it was out of range.
I like that Jieshi here understands the weakness of his F2 addiction. You know, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure. Like, as a Terran player, we do that with our Liberator all the time.
Yeah, that's right. It's like F2,
so yeah.
F2 Anonymous, the speaker and your sponsor will always tell you to siege up your siegeable units, your observers, your overseers, your liberators, your war prisms.
Siege them up. Make sure you do not accidentally be selecting those.
This is a big moment here. Firefly sending basically everything into the middle of the map with Jieshi coming in from the backside. Nova's zoning him back. That's a dead Archon. Good start.
Jieshi's army is so much bigger though.
Yeah.
He's like, get out. Oh, there's no space in the recall for those zealots. Run!
Oh, the Phoenix stopping the retreat of those zealots, or the advance actually, as they're running through the natural in the 3rd. And unfortunately, they see that Jieshi is taking a 4th Nexus. And that is something that he really cannot really keep pace to pace with. He's got his own coming up at 12 o'clock, but the ability to defend that is like a little lacking here for Firefly at the moment. He's behind 2 upgrades right now. I guess the shield upgrade counts as 2, with +3 attack being done for Jieshi. Jieshi having the better army with the Phoenixes. Technically has the ability to shut down the Disruptors completely, but hasn't been able to yet.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting because I do really see like some strong defensive moves, some comeback plays, some harassment, you know, lots of potential in what Firefly's doing here. But then every time it happens, it's like, and then Jieshi just does a solid move. And this, I think, is that solid game finisher right now. Disruptor from the left could be big. Oh!
That is a big Disruptor that does do quite a bit of damage. There is still so much Jieshi, though, as the dust settles, and the Disruptors have been lifted out of the fight. And Phoenix is getting picked off from the defensive Archons of Firefly. Army supply is still quite close. Overcharged shield battery obviously helping out a lot here for Jieshi's defense. The Immortals getting thinned out a little bit. The Archons on the right side still alive. The Disruptor's being taken out of the fight every now and then. Another Disruption Nova is going to be off cooldown here in a second for Firefly.
Wow,
Jieshi
this
still
fight is
maintaining.
That
Yeah, that was a lot closer.
close.
That was a lot
I
closer
think
than I
it's
thought it would be.
just
But
enough.
yeah, exactly. It is just enough for Jieshi. He is seeming to make some headway here and break through the backbone of Firefly. Oh, that Disruptor, though, coming on in with the reinforcements, but getting a little too far out. In come the charge lots.
The warping in the main will be the thing that seals the deal in the end there. I mean, great Disruptor control from Firefly. Really good comeback plays. But losing probes in the third and the main at the same time. Just not quite enough units. I mean, you could see how close Firefly made this,
so
though.
Insanely close.
And already this gives a lot of confidence for Firefly if the game can go smooth enough and macro-oriented. But losing the Nexus first so quickly, this game falling way behind after the aggressive play didn't pay off and wasn't able to take the expansion. Honestly, it's been 2 blundered early games from Firefly, but he has impressed me more than Jieshi in the later stages of the mid-game. So, I mean, this really, I think, shows us that Firefly needs to open up a little more conservatively.
Yeah.
Just get to this stage of the game on a more even footing. It looks like he's got what it takes to take Jieshi down in the mid-game.
I'm with you. This is actually a confidence booster, even though he's going to be on like elimination map coming up. If you know, Jieshi seals the deal here in the next few moments, which we kind of expect, at least in the next few minutes. Firefly has no business being alive still in this game. He lost his... Imagine if he didn't lose that third Nexus. Like, everything catastrophic that's happened to him in this game. The Stalker overextension at the beginning of the game to put him in that situation where he lost his third Nexus. He's done amazingly with these Disruptors and just defenses in general. You know, the choke point for the Stalkers against the charge lots in the main base, defending the Prisms, defending the DTs well enough. And also his counterattack with the Warp Prism and the Disruptors. All of this is actually, just... show me that maybe at this phase of the game, if everything was equal and he didn't take that econ damage, he would probably be mopping the floor with Jieshi right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's insane that even now it's a... Okay, you got Plasma Shields and an armor upgrade, which basically negates one of the attack upgrades for most of these unit interactions. One or two of those, depending on what units it is. You still got Disruptors. Are there any Phoenix out right now?
I think they actually all died at the third Nexus fight.
And he's still got 3 Disruptors. I mean, those can be absolute game changers. And he's already shown he's got great harassment abilities. I mean, the harassment for Jieshi still, though, even little bits of harassment are finding big amounts. Just these DTs. This is the situation Firefly's in. Firefly's like, I can't afford a cannon in each base. If I do that, I just die on the front. So he's trying to defend with a very budget amount of units.
You know, these DTs are definitely doing damage, but Firefly keeps making probes, or rather... Firefly keeps making probes, and Jieshi actually has not budged from 54 for a long time. I'm talking like 5 minutes.
Yeah. This is Jieshi's maximum probe count, we can tell. Jieshi, when he gets to this, likes to use his units, his harassment to do damage. And he's an expert at it. He keeps doing great Zealot DT run-bys. It's a big, scary army. Those 3 Phoenix should be enough. He tries to throw the Disruptors and kind of catch him off guard. Oh, bad movement here from Firefly. And yeah, that was messy. Really messy. And the Phoenix lifts are really huge here because it locks him into a bad fight. Battery overcharge doesn't make up for those unit numbers.
Yeah, finally, the back has been broken here of Firefly, and Jieshi will take the 2-0 lead in the series. Incredibly, I feel like saying a valiant effort is underselling it, but what a incredible fight and fighting spirit from Firefly in this game with Jieshi just, you know, breathing down his neck and stepping on him the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, he was literally like he's trying to catch a Firefly with his bare hands, and it just kept slipping out between his fingers over and over again. This light would not go out. But finally, here, Firefly has to tap. And he's going to have to realize that complete reversal if he wants to get back in this.
That's right. And again, like, I have to go back to saying that this is a confidence boost for me. I mean, it's hard to not be hard on yourself when you're a player as good as Firefly, who just, you know, you expect the world from you. No one is a worse critic than yourself, you know, as the saying goes. So no doubt he'll be very hard on himself for the first 2 games and how they went. But I hope that he sees what we see in that game. You know what I mean? Like, takes a step back, gets out, like, looks outside of himself and sees that there was a lot of really good magic in that game that kept him alive. And, you know, while there was no doubt a bunch of Gold 3 people saying that he should leave this game, he absolutely was the right call to stay in there because he very, very nearly had to come back.
Yeah. unfortunately did not keep a probe on the outside of his natural. If you go for the full pylon wall off with this build, it's an old school traditional thing. You have to hide a probe behind your natural or somewhere out there nearby, so that if the game goes on, you can secure your natural. Firefly's failure to do that just put him in such a bad position from the start, and then it was like, hey, you're on 3 base, I'm on 2. I do think that Jieshi could have taken a 4th and made his win a bit even easier, but Firefly played great.
Yeah, that's it. And the Phoenix is coming here. This is actually sort of the beginning of the comeback for Firefly in a weird way. Like, you know, a comeback is a comeback. It means that he was actually, you know, leading and winning the game. But that Phoenix sort of overextension from Jieshi led into a fight at the third Nexus, which I really wish we got to see a little bit more of, because it was such an interesting fight and so incredibly close. Balanced on a razor's edge there, but this was actually the death blow from Jieshi, as we saw up there at 12 o'clock, where Firefly moved out a little bit too far from his static defense, could not pull Jieshi into a choke point, and honestly, like, it's not just the army's composition, it's how you use it as well. It's not the, you know, it's not the size of the boat pig, motion of the ocean, all this sort of stuff. You have to have those choke points, shield batteries. A lot of his army was out of range of the overcharged shield battery.
Yeah.
He didn't have those zealots funneling into a kill box with his Archons just ripping them to shreds, as he did at the third base when they initially fought, and it was so close.
Yeah, definitely a style that is somewhat fragile. The Disruptor Stalker focus style there. It's a lot about setting up those defensive areas and just survive, you know, even sometimes building gateways, wall off entrances, anything you could do to hang on, build some entrenchments. It's a style, you know, we've seen like Max said last year sometimes would pull out like, hey, you know what, I'm just going to build like Disruptors and Immortals and Void Rays and like wall offs and Static and Turtle. And I'm not going to have as many gateway units. And this is kind of, you know, that, but the Blink Stalker movement from Firefly, the Disruptors pairing with the Blink Stalkers blinking up into the natural once or twice, focusing down Immortals and the like. This was really well played. Really felt, though, Jieshi, great usage with the Prism. Just kept coming into the back of the main, Zealots, Adepts, DTs, all game long. Just kept it alive, kept coming in at the perfect moment. So shout out to Jieshi, because that one Warp Prism did so much damage.
It really did. And if Jieshi made a couple more mistakes, third Nexus didn't go down, and Firefly made a couple less mistakes, we look at a very different game here. In fact, we probably look at an even scoreboard. Really is as simple as that.
Well, now it's going to be 3 map wins needed in a row. I think we're going Jagannatha next, if memory serves. And it should be, I know Lightshade is the final map, 2,000 Atmos. So Jagannatha, 2,000 Atmos, and then Lightshade. So, you know, a couple of well-balanced kind of maps with a lot of different options. None of these are going to favor a 1-gate expand or anything like that. And I think that's probably good. To be honest, I really feel that if you're looking at this from Firefly's point of view, 2-gate, standard opening, get a Stalker Sentry, do a hallucination, Phoenix, check if there's a cheesy build coming or not, adapt, adjust, get to the mid game, because you look great there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, let's survive, as you say. Survive, get to that mid to late game where you show your expertise and how good you are at this matchup. Don't let Jieshi get such a big upper hand on you in the early stages of the game, which he has 2 games in a row here, which was honestly Firefly's fault a little bit in game 2. Not so much in game 1, but game 2 definitely, with that overextension. You know, kind of bought himself a ticket to Frowntown with that overextension, losing too many valuable units on the front doorstep of Jieshi.
Indeed. Well, we are going to be here. This could be the last game.
Could be.
He's been actually quite reactive this series. Even with his aggression, it's been a reaction to his opponent's greed. Down here in the bottom left-hand side, representing Team Lao Power, it's Jieshi.
And in the top right, needs to win the next 5 maps in a row to stay alive in this tournament. His first ever top 4. Can he make it a top 3 and make magic happen here? This is Firefly.
So far, very standard from both players. High ground gateway. The scouts are heading across the map. And Jieshi, you know, didn't really show too much in the series. He didn't have to. I mean, he just defended fantastically on that last map. It was a defense with a robo to kind of secure it, which was a great choice. The Immortal saved his bacon and got him out of trouble when that prism was elevating on the high ground. And game 1 was just a reactive, oh, you're doing 14 Nexus. I can't let you get away with that. No way. So a nice punish, but I wonder if now Jieshi brings out a prepared proxy. We haven't seen any just proxy Stargate or anything like that just yet, in terms of like, like just a sneaky Oracle while you're expanding. So, interesting. Neither one has a probe hidden on the map. Cybercore's already halfway done, so it doesn't look like anyone's rushing a proxy.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything really crazy happening here at all. It's the very, very normal opener, and I'm pleased to see that. Mostly from Firefly, not going for anything, anything too out there, because I think that it behooves him to just be as safe and standard as possible. I mean, the 2 Stalkers as well. Like, I actually maybe would have preferred like the look at expanding, but I guess that is safe in a way to get the extra fighting units up. I kind of prefer the Stalker Sentry opener when you're trying to play like safe and macro-y, because you have access to the hallucination a little bit earlier, the utility of the Sentry in battles and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I really, paired up with this, I like to see the Probe Scout used, but because the probe gets trapped in the base by Jieshi, it's going to go down. So because of that, Firefly can't come back in to check 30 seconds from now if there's a Nexus and what's going on next, but actually sees a Twilight Council. Cancel. Is Jieshi being cheeky, or is he going to let that go up? I'm very curious, because that being scouted, it would be really weird to show your fast tech like that in a PvP.
Yeah. Really should punish. I mean, gotta have that killer instinct here. We do have the probe of Jieshi hiding on the left side of the map here, swinging back into the infrastructure of Firefly. That Stalker seems to be on the patrol for it, looking for exactly something like this. And there's no pylon to see at least, so Firefly bleeding aside of relief there. Probe sees the natural Nexus, the shield battery as well. Firefly playing very conservatively here.
Yeah. Oracle with a quick expand, shield battery to make up for the fact that, hey, you've got a Nexus and a Stargate and an Oracle. You don't have many gateway units as Firefly. You're really cutting a corner. But having seen a quick Twilight Council, you feel somewhat safe because DTs, Blink, anything like that's a while away. Oracle should be able to confirm if you've got to worry about anything in just a little while. And it is indeed Blink. So keep your eyes on the probe production of Jieshi. If he kind of pauses a little bit around, 27, 28, maybe gets up a proxy pylon, extra third gateway, something like that. There are some very quick Blink attacks that can be quite powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's on hand also not too bad against the Stargate opener as well, as Firefly's Oracles are getting amassed. First one going to come into the main base here for a little bit of look. Jieshi repositioning the Stalkers. Very well positioned, very well intercepted. Just drops the Revolution and leaves. Not even getting anywhere near the Nexus.
And it's straight into Blink behind that for Firefly by the looks of things. Will he squeeze a Dark Shrine in? Perhaps. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Oracle comes in, gets one, gets two. Ooh, gets a third probe. Does take a lot of damage, but I think that's worth it. A nice bit of damage. Firefly already up 7 workers so far. And actually, second Oracle did come in as well.
Yeah, there's healthier Oracle coming in to grab a transferring probe. Okay, making the kill 4 in the end. Yeah. Oh, yeah, zigging when he should have zagged there, but the Oracles do survive. Still got 2 here. And this is the probe lead that he wanted. This is the early game lead that Firefly has not had once in this series so far. So can he use this to capitalize and look much stronger in the mid game?
We don't see any forward proxy pylon for Jieshi. I mean, Jieshi's warping in a lot of Stalkers. He's got way more Stalkers right now, so I still think this move out is quite dangerous. Firefly, I don't know if he built a shield battery just yet. He definitely needs one because he is going to be a bit outnumbered, and he does have it ready.
Yeah, he made that a lot.
Way.
He made that shield battery a fair while ago, actually, like just playing super conservative. Here comes the attempt at the blink attack. Oh, stasis forwards. Big brain.
So
I love it. I love it.
Oh, does lose an Oracle.
Okay.
Oh!
Oh my god! Oh man, that fired back so badly.
Oh my god. Wow, I have not seen that before. The stasis on the high ground getting activated and actually freezing them all on the low ground. Jieshi's quick blink attack. I thought it would be really great here. It was a good idea, but great killer instinct from Firefly is like, wait a second, he might try to blink in there. Bam, double stasis trap on the high ground. But blink over, he's going to cancel the third. Yeah. Firefly being a little cheeky with that one, does get caught.
Yeah, it's getting a little greedy there, a little big for his britches. Actually keeps the Nexus alive, strangely enough. The Stalkers disengage. Blink now done for Firefly as well, so that's equalized in tech in regarding to the gateway units. It actually starts charging immediately. We do have the Invisible Man Clubhouse halfway through being built here for Jieshi. And the Invisible Men, I mean, again, they've just never not done damage in the games that we've broadcasted so far.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks has been a lot of deadly Dark Templar decapitating many workers. It's been a terrible time for Terran players, especially in PvP. I feel like people are getting better and better at knowing their observer timings and kind of guarding against that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see an observer first for Firefly, and indeed it does start up at the perfect moment.
Yeah, that pylon on the right side actually getting hunted down and caught there from Firefly. Really doing a great job at keeping his side of the map clean of Jieshi. It's making sure that there's nothing hidden there, which is just very good star sense, just very good, I guess, mature play here from Firefly. Not forgetting the beats of his build. The plan is still is a clear picture here for Firefly. Sending those Stalkers over to the third base as well could be some potential damage, as well as just scouting the third. Dark Templar are out. An Observer is here for Firefly on his side of the map too, which is obviously great defensively. See if the DTs can get anything done.
Oh, those Stalkers are going to have to pull back. It was just a little small squad from Firefly who is way ahead on the upgrades and the economy here. Up 8 workers, and really these Oracles have built into such a big advantage. The Oracle has such great detection here, cleaning these DTs up with ease.
Yeah, I mean, they are getting some probe damage to third base, but 4 probes in total going down. But, I mean, at the cost of 2 DTs, if these DTs die, that is absolutely not worth it for Jieshi.
Yeah, the Oracle, of course, is so good at hunting them down. Observers can't do that. Observers are slow. When the DT decides to run away, as long as the Observer's not in vision of it yet, it's not going to find anything. Another DT does come in, though, and actually, that's so surprising. Jieshi's like, just like, hey, you know, just keep going. I think another on the left as well, maybe. Oh, no, that is just one of Firefly's units. But look at that, he's way out of position.
Yeah, gonna have to use war pins to deal with it here. His army's way too far out to come back home. So there's going to be some denied mining time and some probe kills for sure. The DT should die here at least. And the attack on the front door for Firefly. What's Jieshi got at home to stop it?
That is a lot of Stalkers. There's one Immortal up. There's, oh my god, less than half the Stalker count. Jieshi's just used so many DTs to do economic damage. And at the end of it, yeah, he's up 5 workers, but he's been behind for a long time in the mining. And Firefly is going to capitalize.
Firefly says, allow me to show you an effective main blink. As he just basically cuts the ramp off from his opponent. Blink forward there, but of the Immortals, the Probes, the Zealots caught on the right side, his own Sentry caught on the right side, the Archons and Stalkers biting off more than they could chew in his main base. Oh, Firefly is bleeding Probes. He really needs the Stalker attack to kill Jieshi right here.
Indeed, and look at that, the Probes are attacking his own gateway! Oh, Jieshi with a panic probe pull. He was already probably dead, but that just made it even more decisive for Firefly here. So many Blink Stalkers in that main base.
And it looks like Firefly will not be going down without a fight. Goes for the big, the double take there on the Immortal. Pulls back, then takes him down. And Firefly stays alive, winning game 3 here in this series.
Finally getting a nice, peaceful early game. A little bit of Oracle damage, but otherwise all nice and chilled out. And Firefly finds his way ahead. Shows really good defense of what was, I guess, quite a stressful Dark Templar situation. 4 DTs coming in staggered, hitting multiple bases, evading detection, finding little bits of damage, but just immediately counters across the map and gets that killing blow.
Yeah, and it really did not take very long after that Oracle opening for Firefly to have that mid game that he wanted, you know, to show that he could do what he needs to get done if his plan isn't super thwarted early game by Jieshi. And this was obviously a massive moment. There was a ton of potential for Jieshi to do insane damage here, but it's got a little bit too close to the edge. You can see that he wanted just a couple Stalkers to trigger that Stasis Ward and have the bulk of them blink up into the main and fight. But it was a great Stasis Ward for Firefly, so Firefly getting a little bit lucky there to be sure. But yeah, the Shift Q blink into the main. And if you can get a force field here, obviously the Archon broke one force field, but did not break the one on the right, which means the Immortal was just never a part of this battle. Not until it was way too late and the Archon already died. The probes got pulled, like you mentioned, they were kind of attacking the gateway there for a bit, so that was a little awkward. But would they have won this battle for Jieshi? I don't think so anyway. This is just too many Stalkers.
Indeed, way too many Stalkers. Probes are a pretty good meat shield versus Stalkers, but there wasn't that much damage behind it anyway, so even if you do that, it's not going to make that much big of a difference. I guess just like an interesting tidbit for any of the players out there, you kind of need to attack move with the probes, because if you're attacking your own gateway, they're not going to be considered a threat by the enemy units because they're not an attacking unit unless they're actually attack moved or targeted on one of your units. If they're just friendly firing, it doesn't count. So the units who are on attack move are just like, oh, no, I'll shoot the Stalkers and the Zealots and the Immortals because I consider those to be a higher priority. So that's why you kind of need to A-move the probes. But even if you do, you tank a couple of volleys there. You need damage to really make it worth it, and there just was so little on the ground for Jieshi.
Yeah, the threat on A move is such an interesting mechanic in StarCraft 2 that a lot of people ignore, and it's also certain units have more threat than other units, so they will, the behavior between your defending units and your attacking units and how the armies fight each other is so interesting. Like sometimes, some things like the auto turret have like a really high threat, so sometimes dropping auto turrets can make the opponent sort of target them down instead of your important units. Yeah, I mean, that was certainly the case at one point. That might have changed. Oh, cool. But there are definitely units like
I know,
the
like
siege tank relationship at the planetary.
Yeah. The Thor and the planetary. Yeah, with the siege tank with the planetary, that's one of the funniest ones. If you don't retarget them, they'll keep shooting it. So yeah, the threat is really interesting like that, because it's a lot about, hey, yeah, you can suddenly stop your workers, hold position, they're not a threat anymore, but they're still in the way. So enemy units can be kind of butting up against them, trying to move past them to attack the enemy. It leads to some really interesting scenarios, and it's so fascinating because you can pull all your workers into a battle and it can do absolutely nothing. Or you can actually save yourself. Now, don't get me wrong, if there's 6 Colossus and a bunch of Archons and Storm, pulling work is probably going to change nothing no matter what, right? If there's enough splash damage out there, it's not going to matter. But definitely in those small to medium fights can be a battle turnaround tactic. But still, only one map from winning this entire series. Down here in the bottom left-hand side, representing Team Lao Power on 2000 Atmos, it's Jieshi.
And in the top right here, staying alive in the series, but a lot more work to do if he wants to actually come out the victor and eliminate Jieshi from this tournament. It is Firefly.
What is the dinosaur on that thing next to the Nexus, by the way?
Let's have a look. That is, I think, one of the StarCraft birthday things.
There are a lot of little emotes and things in this game where I don't know what they are.
Isn't that straight up? That's straight up the star from Mario, though, right?
Oh,
like the power stars from Mario 64. That's what they look like.
Okay, I was thinking it was like a Carbot thing or something, but yeah, maybe a reference to that.
I mean, it's not Carbot graphic.
No, it's not at all. Yeah.
So, it might be. Tell me that's not Yoshi. Like if it's like some fan drawing of like a hyper realistic Yoshi with a power star.
Oh, that's cool. Right.
Because that's incredibly cursed if that's the case. Yoshi is such a cute character from Nintendo lore, but
that's so funny, man.
If that's what Yoshi really looks like, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, no,
I would get a shovel and beat it if it was like get it out of my backyard. I'd be like, please don't kill my dog.
Well, I'm
please
pretty sure real life Yoshi wasn't that the dinosaur in Jurassic Park that spits like acid on Newman's face and like.
Oh, yes. Oh my god, I forgot about that movie. Yeah, the thing that has the gills fly out the side of its face, or the get out of here scary face flaps. And then it just spits the gack in Newman's face, and he falls down the hill. Yeah,
he falls down the hill exactly.
I missed that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Oh, such a the classic one. Don't give us all that weird Uncanny Valley CGI. Just give us some big robot models of dinosaur heads. That's all we need.
Stargate build for both players here. Very, very similar build actually for both players. Even down to the mana pylon blocking the next eye.
Yeah, I wonder though, Oracles or Phoenix is going to be interesting. And do we see an escalation of a Phoenix War? It's been a while since we've seen one. So often one player's like, just goes straight into Blink or straight into DTs off the back of it or something like that. But we'll have to see. It could be Oracle versus Oracle, in which case the Phoenix is very useful for, of course, hunting them down on the map. They're both going to go expand, almost identical opening. A quick sentry to follow up for Firefly. So he does want that scouting. But actually, no, cancels it and just build the Oracle. I was like, that's so weird. Oracle plus Sentry, but he cancels the Sentry, of course, to get that gas. And here we go. Slight little pressure from Jieshi. Going to see if he can find something.
Yeah. Well, Firefly cancels that Shade just in time. Does see that he's under attack here. Has the benefit of that shield battery, which should make the difference here, even though he's basically double outnumbered here.
Yeah, great scouting. With the Adept to know ahead of time that they're coming, just makes it even easier to defend that. And the Oracles are going to cross paths here. Shield battery is a little quicker for Firefly. So I think he's fine in his main base. Jieshi, though, it might be a slight opening, but the Oracle's not really going on the correct path to take advantage. So I do think Jieshi should be okay.
Udef's getting in the main. They might get a probe, shield battery defensively. So, yeah, 2 probes going down. We're looking at a third.
Oh.
Yeah, 3 adepts. 2 adepts for 3 probes there.
Well, 1 adept actually, I think, might get out of there. Meanwhile, though, oh, big stasis.
Oh, that's a big old stasis right there. Jieshi a little bit too slow on the trigger.
Oh, Jieshi's actually up 5 workers, though. So I think, it's annoying, but you've killed 3 workers. I don't actually know how, a stasis is really hard to do the math on. Obviously, it's a temporary loss, but those probes are still alive. They'll go back to mining. I think Jieshi's okay with this opening because he's probed so hard at the beginning and is still up a couple of workers, so I think he should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, you would definitely rather have probe kills than denied mining time for sure. There's, I'm so happy that those probes automatically go back to mine as well. Like,
yeah.
Imagine if they didn't.
Ooh. Actually, wait, they don't with stasis, right? No, they do actually stop there, I think. Because I
think they go back.
I hate stasis traps because I think I have to just tell them to return cargo, I think. I know they always stress out my old man hands.
Speaking of old man hands, Jieshi just lost 2 oracles for 3 probes there. Not great.
Yeah, that's really bad, actually. And look at this. Moving straight across the map. A lot more units coming out as well. Ooh, very low on units on the ground. You've got a robot. Needs to get an immortal started right now. I mean, is Firefly just going to kill him? He senses weakness right now. He's just going to try and dive in here.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty small army, but he's got a lot of utility in his Phoenixes, and he's got a lot more Stalkers.
Yeah, a lot more Stalkers coming from behind, and now he's got that numbers advantage. Phoenix, shield battery overcharge is still, of course, available for Jieshi, and it definitely could make things okay. Good wall off to stop the adepts. I mean, you don't need to do damage here as Firefly, and he does actually back off, so he just forces a battery, scares him a little bit, and Jieshi wisely responds with respect, getting the shield batteries and so on. He's continuing to build Phoenix, though, interestingly enough, so I don't want Jieshi to overbuild Phoenix in this scenario. It feels like he's got his tech spread in many different directions right now, and if you keep building Phoenix, that's going to make it even harder to afford Immortals, to afford upgrades on that Forge, to get Blink. So I think Jieshi here needs to kind of get out on the map with those Phoenix and start doing a little bit of harassment and not overcommit to the Phoenix.
Yeah, certainly. Does seem like he's got the advantage on that flight. Oh, yeah, the Observer sees. He loses it, but at least keep these Phoenixes alive, pulling back from a potentially losing fight. Firefly taking his time here. Not in any rush to do anything at the moment. Jieshi feeling the pressure coming in with the Phoenixes to try and answer back.
Ooh. All right, this is interesting right now to see exactly where this one goes. And see exactly what kind of happens. I don't know, it looks like a fast third for Jieshi. I think he should be able to secure this. Even though his Twilight's so late, Jieshi's going to have Immortals anchoring. He's got the +1 a little later, but I think it's all right because he's been up a couple of probes. The Phoenix superiority is very good. Oh, Firefly, I don't think noticed that his Prism got spotted. He should have immediately turned around or hidden it.
Uh-oh. This is toast.
Oh, quick recall.
Wow,
very
that
quick
was super
reaction.
quick, but not quick enough. That was about as quick as you possibly could be.
Yeah. I think best bet there was to unload the Adepts before it dies and recall those and get those home, but you know what? Quick reaction speed for Firefly does lose the Prism. Starts rebuilding another one. Blink is now up. Those 2 Phoenix for Firefly kind of dead weight in this scenario. They are just outnumbered, but uh-oh, Jieshi can't throw those Phoenix away. Not like Romanticide. Keep him alive this time.
Does a sort of a back to... Goes to the right, swings to the left, and bamboozles the Stalkers a little bit. Finds himself 3 probes and keeps all the Phoenixes alive for now. Good move there from Jieshi for sure. He's starting to take the probe lead here pretty comfortably. Up 6 now. Looking good. Keeping up that macro too. Not missing that probe cycles. Going to charge. He's a little bit behind on the attack upgrade, but he's a lot further along with the Templar Archives, which I like a lot more for Jieshi. Like, I think that getting a head start on this, on the Immortal Archon tech is absolutely massive.
Cannon's coming down for insurance for Jieshi. The upgrade's still a little behind, but not too much. I think Jieshi, I'm really impressed with the worker development in this game, Maynard. I think if you play this style, you need to go to a higher worker count. I'm glad to see some players, they just cannot saturate 3 bases. They just, nope, not comfortable with it. 55 workers max ever, right? Game 1, Jieshi sat on 54, 56 workers all game. This game, Jieshi says, I've gone slow attack, bigger economy. I've got Phoenix control. I am going to build more into a bigger economy and a larger army and really just play to my strategic advantages. So he's showing a lot of different range as a player here. And I think, did he skip Blink, by the way? Did Jieshi skip Blink in this game? I think he did, right?
I actually think he has Blink. No, maybe he didn't because he has got the Phoenixes. There's no point in getting it, really.
Yeah, he went for it really late. So the thing is, it can get you in trouble just using, Charge Lot of Mortal Archon, right? Because Mass Blink can kind of cut you down. But I do think the Phoenixes make it hard for your opponent to really do that, right? You pick up a few Stalkers, you can't really run away without abandoning at least a few of your comrades. So definitely looks like a big ground-pounding army. Immortals, Charge Lot Archon. The Immortal count is really big too. 3 out, 4th on the way, well, 5th on the way.
Oh god, Firefly cannot win this fight. Not against this army. He needs to get out of there with what he has. He comes forward with more Stalkers to fight on the front line. I mean, that is a lot of stutter step potential. Things are going to start getting one shot with that many Stalkers. He is losing some on the retreat to the Phoenixes, but they are getting targeted down. So he can continue to kite a little bit here, even with the charge lots.
That's a lot of Immortals, though. 5 Immortals there. A 6th one is rallying out. Like, oh my god, dude. What a beastly army. You cannot stand your ground and fight against that as Firefly. Without charge done, you're definitely going to be frantically warping in more Zealots to absorb those big bonus damage to armored Immortal hits. So you want to be picking these off on the way across. You want to be using Zealots and your own Archons to hang on. The thing is, there's Archons there for Jieshi as well. Those are Slayers, so this Blink count, Firefly needs to micro it well. I do think this army size, Blink Stalkers are still fine, but he's got to get out there and start trading again. I really think take advantage of the immobility, pick off an Archon, pick off a few Zealots, and keep doing that over and over.
He is down 10 workers here, and teching into Archons is a long way off here for Firefly. He's just dropped these Templar Archives. He's at least have +2 ready, and he does have charge now. Oh, this small pocket of units is not going to have any hope in hell and putting too much chip damage into that army there. He is creating a distraction here by the looks of things, trying to make Jieshi concentrate on this small army while sending a bunch of Stalkers into the main again.
Oh, it's a bit slow, though. I think it's a little slow. I don't know. The Zealot Archon Immortal's going to do even more damage than it. He's going to get in there and force a bit of a base trade, which is cute. He doesn't have a DT Shrine or anything like that. His army at home is going to fall on back. He's got some batteries, some more Stalkers on the way, but that is a huge army from Jieshi.
He might as well overcharge and hope to just A-move this army down as best as he can. It is just Stalkers here from Firefly. He does have charge, but no charge loss to be seen. Stalkers trying to get it done here. He is picking apart Jieshi from within, but Jieshi doing the exact same thing, answering fire with fire, doing the same in the third as he is in the natural, actually splitting his forces up. And Firefly desperately trying to hold on to that main base. He is making a Dark Shrine, but I don't know if we'll see it. If Jieshi just jumps up into the main here with the Archons, the Immortals, punches a hole through those gateways, I don't think that Dark Shrine is going to see the light of day, but his army is kind of just awkwardly standing idle here in the natural, just giving Firefly a little bit of time to do some damage still.
He wants to go home. I mean, the Stalkers actually just got recalled from Firefly, a big recall. Jieshi's got to... Oh, his army splits up a bit. He's going to lose a lot of these units on the retreat.
Oh my god, these +2 attack Stalkers jumping on top of the critical units here. The Archons getting targeted down. The Immortals getting targeted down. Where are the charge lots? They come back now. Charge lots and Archons so important for fighting against Mass Blink Stalker.
Oh, there's still a massive unit advantage here for Jieshi as the Zealots come in, but his Archons are super weak. He does lose a couple of Archons there. The Stalkers are microing their little hearts out. Firefly here, it is all about the Blink micro. The army supply is almost dead even. Jieshi has got a base fully mining. Firefly does not. There is a 4th base up for both players, but no workers on either.
And no observers either, and the Dark Shrine is about to finish here, Pig. I think Firefly might be able to get a checkmate maneuver with the Dark Shrine, or at least mitigate the damage quite a bit.
Oh, an Observer's building, though. This is really smart. Jieshi realizes he's already got that Observer on the way, so it was a big brain move for Firefly, realizing, hey, if something's going to get me back in this game, snipe the Obs and do that. But I do think that Firefly just, I think he needed to fight this army on the map a little more. It's hard against the Mortal Archon Stalker, but I think he needed to try to wear it down. And look at that, trying to save that base as best he can. DTs will defend it. So not a bad move by Firefly, but definitely down on economy.
Look at this sentry harassment, dude. This is something that we haven't seen in a hot minute. Sentries ain't what they used to be. Stalker's still trying to hold that line, but oh my god, Jaishi's army looks so strong.
That's budget stasis trap, was that what that harassment was, Maynard. Hallucinated Zealots and some force fields to stop the probes from mining for a few seconds. Not the most powerful of moves, but Firefly's just digging deep and trying to find anything, because this is the elimination point, and everything is pointing towards Jieshi having enough to seal the deal. A few zealots, the DT warps in. I don't know. What do you do here as Firefly? He's going to try and harass, use his mobility, use his Stalker micro as best he can. He definitely can pick off the zealots on their own, but the Immortal Archon may come in from behind.
Yeah, I think so. Like, this is just not looking good at all for Firefly once more. He can make magic happen with the Disruptors on Romanticide. He was looking down the barrel of a comeback there, but I don't see Disruptors on this map for Firefly. I don't see the ability to get Disruptors. He doesn't have gas anymore. He can make one more Stalker at the moment. He's warped in a couple Dark Templar, but Jieshi made that Observer earlier. He does have detection now with that army.
This is, yeah, it's just he's losing the Stalkers. The army is going down. The Prism there is looking mighty exposed as it goes back in on this base. Jieshi warps in zealots to prepare. And the DTs can drop in and pick off some of these probes, but he can pull them away. There's only a couple for now. Has more observers building. Does Jieshi trying to rebuild the economy behind this as Firefly is still down 5 workers, 18 to 24 right now. Doesn't have any of these big power units. Yeah, it's like big power units and triple the army supply. That's a big obstacle to overcome.
Yeah, and it is an elimination map, so he's going to try his hardest here, but there is just less and less ability here for Firefly to make something happen as Jieshi's just chasing him off the front porch, rocking for Nexi. A huge probe count of 27, but you know, in all seriousness, he just has more structures. He has more army. He doesn't really have the ability to stop Jieshi if Jieshi decides to just go through and kill what remains of Firefly's infrastructure.
Nicely played here by Jieshi, just getting the Phoenix to deal with this Warp Prism that's being a nuisance, adding that in with an Observer to deal with the Dark Templar, rotating around the left side of the map, looking for that 4th base over there, which is, of course, Firefly's lifeline in this map. And Jieshi's not going to give him time to get anything off of that. More than double the supply, catching the probe transfer. Desperate Stalker backstab for Firefly, going to be his last effort.
So his last hurrah here in this game is Jieshi comes down, finds the Nexus, gonna take it down. Firefly, I mean, he's gonna try his best here, but I'm looking in the Magic 8-Ball Pig, and it says unlikely.
Outlook is bleak.
Outlook grim, yeah. Not looking super hot here for Firefly. There's the Jieshi victory right there with a GG.